My story and need advice. I have been married now for 20 years. I just found out my wife has an affair with her school-time first love. Let's call him X. She did not confess, but I was able to piece following information together, all from what she said time to time. This she had told me: her first love X had ended during her school days 1997 because she dumped him due to a huge misunderstanding. Basically, she had thought he had another affair. But in 2011 she accidentally met this other girl and found out it was a bad joke. She had wanted to contact X to say sorry. In 2017 she had to undergo surgery due to breast cancer. The illness made all her past childhood friends to contact her, and as news spread, X had come to know of her illness by 2018. In 2019 March, X had been able to find her contact number. In 2019 August 7th, she said X had wanted to contact her. He would call if I approve. Is it okay to say sorry for dumping him? I said no problem. But on 2019 October, X visited our country. He was in another country, had bought a Channel 9 perfume with him. She told me that she had asked about the Channel 9 perfume during her first love, during school time from him. We discussed and we agreed not to accept the gift, and not to meet him. But he had phoned her and said he still loves her. She told me all that. I was a bit mad with him. I said not to contact him anymore, and don't answer phone calls from him. The next I heard of him is Jan 2020, where she said she had to take a call with him. I was a bit mad about that call. She said she will never talk again. In 2020 December, X's best friend paid a quick visit to our home. I was not there, but my wife said he called X and said she is okay. Because she had a history of cancer, I thought that's nothing unusual. After the above, fast forward to 2022, where I got stuck in a foreign assignment from February 2021 to February 2022. I was supposed to come back in July 2022, but due to very sudden work reshuffle, I was back home on 17th of February 2022, almost with just 1 day's notice to my wife. The very day evening while we were having tea, a call came that she didn't pick the phone. The second time I picked the call, a girl asked about my wife. It is nothing unusual for us to do that. We answered each other's calls. My wife nodded not to tell she is around, so I said me wife is sleeping. When I asked what that is, she said it can be X. She said she was getting calls from him, but she didn't answer. In March, while we were talking about past events, it slipped from her that it is actually she who had called X, and that also in March 2019. I got a bit alarmed, because she had told me it was August 2019 X called her after discussing with me. So, I asked whether she met X. She said no. Asked whether she has seen photos of him. She said yes, during a school reunion on 2020. She had not told me that. Then I pressed a little, and she admitted he came to the old school reunion on 2021. I kept on pressing for details, and following came time to time. X had met with an accident in Sept 2020 and had been in ICU, nearly dying. She had called him then. X had asked to see her during school reunion. Jan 2021, she had agreed. X had divorced and lost his children and his mother to cancer, which made her feel sorry. After that he had been calling twice or 3 times a week. She visited his home twice, but never had a physical relationship. I do not believe that. She said she felt sorry for X, that is why she visited his home, just to chat. She says they never texted, no video calls, but he took a single video call to show his house. Obviously not believable. She said all calls were from private numbers. I do not think it is true about 2 to 3 times a week. Then she said she is not going to talk to him again. She is terrified that I might leave her. I have the feeling she is not telling me the entire truth. I think why she doesn't confess is because she thinks I might leave our marriage if I know the total truth. I love her still, very much. But I know she is not telling me the full story. Feel very sad. Any advice please? Redditor's reaction story 2 after. Redditor 1, people that get caught in a lie and then keep on lying afterwards are going to wait for it. Keep right on lying some more. Sorry you've been duped. The sooner you move on, the sooner you'll have a better life. Redditor 2, if she is terrified you might leave, use that to your advantage. You know her best, but tell her something like you are deeply hurt by her lies and you feel like you can't trust her. Tell her you are considering ending the marriage because you feel that she still has not been truthful. Tell her she has one chance to be completely honest with you, and if you ever find out she lied again, you will be gone. Redditor follow-up: that usually does not work. The threat of leaving has no weight to it if they believe that you would leave if you knew the truth. Sadly, one of the ways to get them to admit the truth is to actually file for divorce. Let her know you don't believe her and you cannot accept that she cannot be truthful with disclosing the truth about her affair. Actually filing, which can be stopped at any time, is something that can prod them to disclose everything. They have to believe that they are going to lose what they want to keep to be prompted to confess. Redditor 3: if you don't believe her stories, then you need to motivate her to tell you the truth. Throw a bucket of cold water over her. She has to see consequences actually happen. One way would be to file the divorce. Story 2: wife of 17 years cheated on me with close friend. We have 4 young children. Need advice on what to do as I am a total mess. Please help me. I've been living in a nightmare for more than 2 weeks now. I don't know what to do and am absolutely desperate for advice, which is why I'm posting this. I'll start at the beginning. Apologies for the long post. My wife 41 has been having an affair with one of my best friends. I would call him my second best friend for a year. We have 4 children, 2 of whom are autistic, and we've been married for 17 years. She is Canadian but lives with me in England on a marriage visa. My wife and my friend have been getting very close for a few years now as they have shared interests, for example going to the theater together, going to comedy clubs, drinking, partying, etc. They are both extroverts and enjoy having a good time, whereas I am more introverted and prefer to stay at home. He also has children, 2 boys aged 8 and 12, and our families have known each other and been incredibly close for about 14 years. My wife and I have had a great marriage. We have always felt that we were meant for each other. However, over the years, I've sometimes had a few problems performing in bed, which my wife usually responded quite negatively about, which made me feel worse about it. I'm probably also not quite as overly affectionate with her as she would like. I am definitely affectionate, compliment her, buy her flowers every so often, etc. But I know that she would want more than I give her on this front. Otherwise, our marriage has been genuinely fantastic and I am in shock that this has happened. About 2 weeks ago I saw a message pop up on her phone that she'd left on the couch. It was from my friend saying how beautiful she is and how I was still thinking about the last time they were intimate. When I saw this message I was so confused and shocked, and I kept trying to convince myself that it must have meant something else. But because I was suspicious, I checked her Maps timeline data that night while she was sleeping and there was very damning evidence. The following night I mustered all my courage and challenged her about it. She denied it over and over, gaslighting me, and then I showed her my evidence and only then did she finally admit it. I begged her for the full truth and she gave me a version of events that was, I later found out, very watered down. It took about 5 more days to get the full story, and that was mainly from my friend who'd decided to come clean with me and his own wife, who I had to tell, and she had no idea either. She was absolutely devastated, screaming, crying, etc. All in all they had times 7 times, with the time between the 5th and 6th time lasting about 5 months, and the whole affair lasting 13 months. They also kissed, held hands, and did much more whenever they had the chance of privacy in between, even when the families were together. It's also worth saying that their affair started about a week after I found out that my mom had been diagnosed with cancer and would need some invasive treatment, surgery, chemo, etc., and therefore I was scared about the prospect of losing her. My wife's dad died a few years ago and so did my friends, and I of course stood by them both and supported them fully during this. It also turns out that she had told my friend and his wife about my performance issues, and that she had called me dull and boring. All this talking behind my back also really hurt me, as I'd never said anything about our time life to anyone and never said anything bad about her behind her back. On the contrary, I have been her biggest supporter. The boring comment upset me because I work really hard for the family, and I'm involved in a lot of community and political work, which I feel is anything but boring. But I suppose she meant in the sense of not enjoying clubbing, drinking, partying, and being mediocre in bed. Now I don't know what to do. Should I separate from her, divorce her, or try to reconcile and fix our marriage? She wants me to go to therapy and for us to go to couples therapy, both of which I've agreed to. I'm scared to separate and especially divorce because it would devastate my children who are still quite young 5, 7, 10, 12 and my 2 autistic children would find the changes to their lives particularly distressing. I am also worried about living a lonely life. I'm the kind of person that needs a partner around them as I get lonely fairly easily. I worry about things like getting ill alone or having an accident. I'm also 45 years old and not particularly attractive, whereas she is very attractive and would probably find someone else much more easily than me. There's also the fact that I still deeply care for her and I already miss the life we had so much. The kids still don't know anything and we're still living together, but our marriage is only what I can describe as in limbo. She assures me that she has never cheated on me with anyone else, although she does admit that she can drink too heavily sometimes when she is out to the point where she is flirting with other people, but she maintains that she knows never to cross the line. And that it only happened with my friend because they developed a strong closeness over the years. But she is telling me that he will never speak to him again, that she's desperately sorry, and that she wants to be with me. So, I need advice, desperately. I'm a total mess and just don't know what to do. Should I work on the marriage for the sake of stability for the children and the hope that we can get back to where we were before and to avoid the fear of being alone? Or should I separate and or divorce, which would have been financial consequences for me also? I've only given the abridged version here, so if you have any questions about any of the details or anything else, then I'll try to elaborate. Thanks so much. Edit. I just want to say, from the bottom of my broken heart, a huge thank you for the outpouring of support, advice and compassion you have all shown me. I'm truly overwhelmed. Thank you. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1. Why are you the one getting individual therapy when she is the one who is the broken person that backstabs the one they are supposed to care about the most? It's way too soon for marriage counseling. Your marriage didn't cheat, she did. She needs to figure out what is broken inside her that allowed her to do this, and then you can work on your marriage. Also, most marriage counselors tend to shift part of the cheating onto the betrayed spouse. First things first, you and your wife need to both be tested for STDs now. Immediately. Next, you need to talk to a lawyer ASAP so that you know your rights and what to expect if you divorce. Even if you decide to try to work it out with your wife, go to a lawyer now so you know the facts on what to expect if things don't work out. Finally, the affair is very bad, but the fact that she was bad-mouthing you to everybody while she was the one being a asset human being is a really bad sign. If she thinks so firmly that you're a boring adult because she wants to go out and act like a fun 20-year-old, then you may not have much to work with for reconciliation. Op answer. Thank you so much for the advice. I agree on all fronts. I had the same thoughts about couples therapy. I've struggled to understand why this would be needed or useful when I've really done nothing wrong except perhaps be too trusting. Redditor 2. She is theirs on a visa. I would make her sign a postnup to protect you and make it clear if she doesn't you will divorce her and use her immigration status against her. It's dirty, but it might be good leverage. Then ask her if she still thinks you are dull and boring. Redditor 3. It only ended as you caught her, otherwise this would have continued. Not only was she having intercourse with your friend but telling her lover and his wife your sexual issues. I would ask for space so you can clear your mind and decide what you want. Also seek IC for your codependency and help through this. I will say you will never be able to trust her again and can't believe her that her lover was the only one. Dump the friend. Op answer. Thank you. I'm sorry, but what is IC? Do you mean a lawyer? If so, I am seeing one next week to get advice and understand what would happen if I did divorce. My friend will never be in my life again.